live here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. This is the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series for the season finale. I'm Josh Copperl. I'm joined by Brett Bennett and Adam Kuhn. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to the championship race here in the Coast to Coast Cup Series. Right now, looking like it's going to be an exciting battle. We got the three people competing for the championship here in the top three on the leaderboard here in practice, so shaping up to be a great race.
Yeah, it should be an exciting conclusion to this season. First season for this series, season 0, they're calling it, for their refresh campaign here. And first season, of course, on JCTV, we picked up midway through the season. But Josh, since then, we've seen all kinds of different shows, all kinds of different battles all season long. And like Brett mentioned, top 3 best drivers in the standings, top 3 fastest on the board right now. So we are going to be in for a treat tonight, I think, as long as Bryan Liranzo's internet doesn't have issues like it did last week at Watkins Glen, which kind of put him in a deficit this week. Tonight, he had the point lead going into that race, but now it's Kody Riveras on the foot forward.
All right, 20 seconds left in practice. Usually we do picks to win the race, but we're doing things different. Who's your guys' picks to win the championship?
I'll go ahead and start then. I'm gonna go with Kody Riveras. I think he's been really consistent all season, and especially lately, his recent results. He had, I think, 2 DNFs or 2 really poor finishes, and in the first 3 races, he dropped both the season opener and the third race of the season at Daytona and Las Vegas. But since then, he has been reeling off top 5 after top 5 for the most part since then, and has put himself in a great position to win the championship. Just got to hold off primarily Bryan Liranzo tonight, and he'll have a great chance at it. So that's gonna be my pick.
Yeah, I agree with Brett. Kody won our first race here on JCTV at the Daytona Road Course, and he did it pretty dominating fashion the next week. Didn't back it up with a win, but he backed it up with a great performance, led the most laps, and he fell just short late in the race. But any type of track we go to, he is super fast. But for the sake of the show, I'll pick someone different. I'll pick Ellis Wells, way out on a long shot, like we mentioned a little bit. Needs to win this race and hope the other 2 have big trouble. Not out of the realm of possibility, especially like I mentioned with the internet issues with Bryan Liranzo's last couple weeks, and like Brett mentioned, Kody Riveras having struggles at the start of the season. So Ellis Wells has been fast every other type of racetrack we've gone to. He's just had poor results the last 2 weeks.
I agree with both of you about Kody Riveras, and because I am going to pick Kody Riveras as the championship winner tonight. He's a strong contender, leading the points right now. I think he's got it.
I will go ahead and add, though, that having watched practice, it seems that they're really struggling getting loose off the corners, which pretty much any car you're running here at Homestead is going to be an issue. So it could be a race where one mistake could cost a championship, especially if you're losing off 4 in the middle of the pack. You're probably going to get hit, and you're probably going to have a lot of repairs. So could play out.
But I'm glad you mentioned. Sorry, but I'm glad you mentioned that, though, because I noticed that as well in the final minutes of practice, and that is something, like you mentioned, we see a lot in any type of car we see race here at Homestead, especially really recently on JCTV. Been here a couple times, and that has been an issue, spinning off turn 2 by yourself or spinning off 4 and collecting a bunch of people.
There's Liranzo there, finishing up qualifying.
That was a
top of the
absolute
board
flyer of a lap, 32.99. Nobody in practice was even close to that quick.
And Kody Riveras is P2. He's already completed both of his laps as well. So right now it is 1, 2, and 5 for our championship competitors.
Ethan Fonseca Moreno jumped his way to 3rd. He's on his he completed his 2 laps actually with that improvement. Jason Rashcock was top of the board early on. He's been bumped now to 4th.
Jonathan Parker has just taken the green flag for his first lap of qualifying here.
Jonathan's debut here in the Coast to Coast Cup Series. He's been in the booth with us a couple times here on Thursday nights.
Jonathan always has got to be considered a contender anytime he gets in a car in any league or in any track, but we're looking to see how he. Sorry, Josh.
No, you're fine. I cut you off there. I was gonna say I'm really curious to know how he's gonna do tonight, being that this is in the next gen car and it is a whole different series for him. You know, I expect that we'd still see him up front, but you know, are we gonna see him competing for a race win? I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do tonight. As P2 so far, qualifying from Jonathan Parker.
Blitz, the 2 championship contenders, so looks like they'll be lining up one after the other to start this race.
You know, you guys mentioned Jonathan Parker. Really, probably one of his first league starts in the next gen. I know he has some under his belt. Not quite sure if he's made a start here at Homestead, but that was a pretty good improvement on that second lap. Like you guys mentioned, jumping up to second on the board. Was, I believe, 9th before that lap.
Yeah, and looking at almost everybody's qualifying times, second lap has definitely been the fast lap for almost everybody. So I think the tires, you see that at a lot of tracks in the next gen car, the tires really have to get up the temperature before this car will really take off in the corners, and usually that will take a lap or so to at least have the temperature to run fast lap times. And I think once again we saw that play out there in qualifying.
So qualifying is complete. We head to the grid now. And starting on pole is going to be the number 77 of Bryan Liranzo, with Jonathan Parker starting to his outside in P2. Kody Riveras will start P3, Ethan Fonseca Moreno P4, and Jason Rashcock will start in 5th. Adam?
Starting in 6th is going to be the long shot championship contender, Ellis Wells. Starting alongside is going to be Ali Reeves in the 31. Luke Knupp starts in the 8th position, with Brandon Fielder starting 9th. And Christopher Robinson starts in the 10th position. Brett?
Starting 11th here tonight, we have Shockey Tarpley alongside Alonzo Chicano in row 6. Row 7 will consist of Luke Mahone and Jackson Glenn Austin. Starting 15th, Drew Webb. And Josh, I'll let you finish it out.
Brad Sawinski will start in 16th. Wes Gallo in 17th. Brandon Fowler will start in 18th. Nicholas Broski will start in 19th. And I really will butcher that name. Michael Deach will start 20th.
Devin Frank is 21st, and 22nd is Emil Bascombe. 23rd is Austin Duran. And real quick, before we get started, as the field rolls off pit road, another driver who is making their debut tonight joined us in the booth last week, actually, at Talladega. 2 weeks ago, at Talladega Super Speedway, is Alonzo Chicano driving the 9 car tonight. Alonzo, what are your expectations for this race?
I have no clue. These cars are really, really loose off the corners here. I mean, cold tires are cold, for sure. It's gonna take a few laps to really get settled in. I really don't have a lot of experience in these cars. I don't really race them too often. So I don't know how much of a contender I'm going to be today. Just based off of that short 30-minute practice session. Didn't really get too much of a chance to really get myself too settled in here, but it should be a good race. We got a championship on the line. Hopefully, I'm going to try to stay out of their way and just have fun.
All right.
Great. Thank you, Alonzo. Starts in the 12th position.
flag is in the air. We are underway from championship race here at Homestead. And already, Kody Riveras looking underneath Liranzo, trying to take that race lead. It's going to be Jonathan Parker rolling the high line. They're 3 wide coming off turn 2.
They're 4 wide behind them.
Now, we'll see if they can all get settled out here in the turn 3. Jonathan Parker able to prevail on that high line. You get such a good run off the corner here on that high line.
He's loose.
Well, as I said that, he got loose, so...
Ooh, Ellis Wells got a little bit in the back of Kody Riveras going into turn 1. He shot way up the hill. Here comes Luke Nupp to his inside, and Ollie Reeves thought about it as well.
And Bryan Liranzo led the first lap. But there is 5 bonus points at play for leading a lap and 5 extra ones for leading the most laps here tonight. So every lap led going to be important as Bryan Liranzo takes the first one. Kody Riveras still right on his rear bumper.
A little bit further back, Liranzo's teammate Jason Meshkak made a huge move on the back straightaway, went from the top all the way to the bottom. He is running right now in the 7th position, trying to hold off Jonathan Parker right now, who dropped a ton of spots on that start.
We got somebody down on the apron there off of turn 2 at the back of the pack. Looks like they got it straightened out. You can see the drivers now starting to really settle in. Takes a few laps to get those tires up to temperature before the car really starts feeling comfortable, and I think we're starting to hit that point now.
These guys starting to get single file. One thing, though, really surprises me is Jonathan Parker falling back. Still falling back. He's all the way back in great position.
Yeah, I think when he had that moment on lap 1 in turn 3, he just backslid. Even though they're less momentum dependent than the late Gen 6 cars, the next gen cars still are very momentum dependent. So if you have to lift out more than you want to and give up speed, you're gonna backslide pretty hard until you can get that momentum back going. And I think that's what happened to him.
Top 3, Liranzo, Liveras, Wells, they are nose to tail. And Riveras, he's gonna be riding that high line.
He's gonna try to get a big run off the corner here.
Oh man, Liranzo blinking just a little bit.
Yeah, that I wouldn't be too concerned about that blinking. That's fairly common on a lot of people from time to time, where it just had that split-second blink out. The way it was at Watkins Glen, he was disappearing for seconds at a time and consistently blinking. So as long as it's just the occasional blink like that, I don't think it'll cause any issues with that.
Landon Fielder is getting close up to the rear bumper of Luke Nupp right now as they were going through 1 and 2. And trouble in the back of the pack. I think Jackson Glenn Austin tagged the wall off turn 2.
I mentioned it before in these cars, but you can get away with tagging the wall a lot more than you can in a lot of cars. I haven't really got enough chance to play with the trucks yet, but the trucks hopefully might have some of that now with them adding the new damage model onto it this week with iRacing updates. But that's one of the nice things about the next gen is you can get away with a little bit of walking impact as long as you don't knock the suspension out of alignment.
Yeah, Jackson Glenn Austin dropped 3 spots there. More trouble. Someone else got the wall back there way onto the apron, but they keep it going in the right direction.
Yeah, And
It was the 22 of Lemieux Bascom.
as this run goes on, the tires are going to wear, and you're going to see more and more people struggling. And that's always the big things at Homestead is as the tires wear, being patient on that throttle, because you get back to the throttle too early, it's just going to want to send you up the track into the wall.
Our top three still all nose to tail.
Yeah, we're talking about getting loose off turn 2. We had 2 people have issues off turn 2 that last lap. Ethan Fonseca Moreno was getting held tight from the 5 of Luke Mahone, got sideways, almost spun it out into the inside. He saved it, and at the same time, the 39, Brandon Fielder popped the wall, and he lost the top 5 position.
Well, I know
And just to
somebody got really sideways back in the pack.
Just a reminder that there is a stage in this race that will come on lap 45, and I would think, based on running past races here, you might need to make a pit stop before then, but there is limited tire sets here today, and if they can make it on fuel, obviously they are going to try to make it to the stage break before pitting. But with limited fuel capacity in these cars, I am not sure if they'll be able to or not.
And that stage is important because we've, of course, been talking about the championship picture all night, and 10 bonus points up at stage for that stage win, and then 1-digit intervals all the way throughout the rest of that top 10. But that's not really a big disparity compared to the finishing points, the format that we have here in the Coast to Coast Cup Series. So minor points like that could go a long way when it comes down to the end of this race, especially if these top 3 continue to run this close.
Yeah, and right now, Liranzo leading laps is huge as he entered today's race 11 points back. If he were to lead the most laps and win, he would be guaranteed the championship. Riveras, no matter what Riveras were to do in that scenario, I believe, unless like Liranzo gets no stage points and Riveras gets all of them, he might give it to Riveras. I believe that would make Liranzo a champion.
Where stage is at the end of lap 45. Still a little ways till we get to that.
Got a battle brewing for the 5th position between Ollie Reeves and Christopher Robinson. As Robinson looked like he got a good run off at 4 that last lap. And there's a gaggle of cars for about 15th position coming 2-3 wide as they kind of spread out up front.
The one thing I love about this track is you're going to see drivers running really anywhere they possibly can. Drivers are going to be running all over this racetrack. Bottom, middle, top, wherever they can find grip, wherever they can feel comfortable. And you see it. A shot like this, watching right now, you see that all the cars spread out throughout the corners.
Yeah, and mention that you will see everywhere in 1 and 2. In 3 and 4, you can put it right up against the wall, but you're not going to see people get quite as tight to the wall in 3 and 4 typically, as there is a big bump in the middle of 3 and 4 that can really especially bad up top, and I've done it a few times where I've gotten in too deep and up top, and as soon as I hit that bump, it just shoots you into the wall if you're right up against it. So
someone hard into the wall.
Zawinski.
And now we are 3 wide.
Austin Duran also just caught it briefly.
Yeah, this battle back at the pack is some intense racing. They almost had some door-to-door contact there in the corner as well after Zawinski got in the wall behind him.
We have a battle for 4th here up also now. Ollie Reeves trying to get by Luke Knaup, and Luke is defending that position, now diving to the inside in turns 3 and 4.
He's wanting to look to the inside. Goes to the outside, looping up. Left that up there. Oh, man. I think Reeves got the wall a little bit there on entry.
Yeah, we'll see. You can really generate a huge run off the corner up top, so. But it looks like he might have had to lift a little bit and feather it off the corner, as that allows Christopher Robinson to get to his inside here.
And Jonathan Parker trying to regain those positions, slowly creeping up.
And one thing I will say about Jonathan Parker, having raced against him in ITPN all of last season and in other series, is usually he is a threat on long runs. He is really good at managing his tires and keeping them under him for on the long run. I know there's several races last year in ITPN where he might not be the fastest on a short run, but if we got a long run to the finish, late in that run, he can start passing people and end up working his way up to the front. So as this race continues to go green, that he might become more and more of a threat as we move forward. Although right now he's kind of stuck behind this battle between Robinson and Reeves. Robinson is finally able to clear up in front of Reeves for the 5th position there.
Yeah, Reeves is going to stay up close to that wall, then we're going to allow Jonathan to try to dive to the inside of the 31.
Yeah, I found this track on the short run, that top is probably the fastest way around, and that's in other cars. I can't guarantee that's the case in the next gen. But as the run goes on, typically you want to be hooking the bottom if you can, because that on one side seems to save tires a little better, and two, it just seems to be faster as the speed goes away. So you see Jonathan Parker just hooking that white line in 3 and 4.
Oh!
Oh!
What in the world?
We got a car upside down.
He's back on all fours.
I don't even think he has a lot of damage. Well, that happened.
I don't even know how he flipped. He must have hit. He must have just hit a curb or something on the road course. So
I am very
just a bump there.
confused. That was one of the strangest accidents I have seen on iRacing.
I was scanning through the field when that happened. I just saw the diffuser. I just saw the underplate of a car. I was confused,
Okay,
and then I heard
so
Josh's reaction.
I'm looking at the replay right now, and I'm sure we'll get a replay.
It looks so weird.
But he hit there's like a bump right where like that AstroTurf,
Right.
where that concrete starts. It flipped him onto his roof, and then he flipped back onto his wheels and just kept going with like no damage. So
It was the most perfect flip I've ever seen.
yeah, he just does a nice little rotate, slides down, and then it flips back onto the wheels.
I just want to know from his perspective. Like,
I think we need an onboard for that.
I've been on iRacing since May of 2016. I've seen a lot of crazy things, but
I don't think he even
that
hit the
takes
wall.
icing in the cake.
And I think you're right. I don't think he's got any damage. Last lap he just ran a competitive lap time. That's the laps he was running before that incident.
I'm at a loss for words on that, because definitely, as saying, Josh, I've not been on iRacing quite as long as you have, but I have never seen something like that happen. I've never seen somebody do a flip, not hit anything, not damage their vehicle, and just keep going in a race. Now, I've seen it happen in races without damage, but those are usually races that are like multi-class trucks and modifieds and sprint cars or something. I've not seen that in a competitive league race ever.
We're only 27 laps into this race, and I'm left speechless.
Meanwhile, Kody Riveras has closed back in on Bryan Liranzo and is starting to put some pressure on him for the lead, as we have now got under 20 laps to go in the first stage.
Yeah, Liranzo actually had started to pull away a bit. But Riveras doing a good job. It got a little bit loose. They're off quarter exit 2. Riveras.
Also, oh, sorry.
Riveras doing a good job. Go ahead, Brett.
I was just going to say, our in-race reporter, Alonso Chicano, has improved up to 6th position. Ollie Reeves seems like he's continuing to slide back, although him and Reeves appear to be side-by-side battling for that 6th position right now. As Reeves is back by him.
Yeah, and every time we pretty much pan to a battle, it seems like the 31 of Reeves is involved in it in some way. He's just been pretty resilient inside that top 10, holding his ground some way, trying to stick with the battle. And just in front of him, Jonathan Barker swerving all over the track, trying to continue this battle he's having with Luke Knapp, as Ollie Reeves just brushes the wall behind.
Yeah, and Ollie Reeves has been running that top. He's the only car really at the front of the pack who is running the top lap after lap. Almost everybody else is running either the bottom or the middle. And he's being consistent with it, and he might really like the way it feels up there. Although, as I say that, you see Luke Knapp going up to the fence that time in 1 and 2, up ahead of him. This Alonso cannot quite get clear of him there off of turn 2. We'll have to slot in back behind him. A quick update again on the 00. He's now picked up 2 spots. He dropped all the way back to 17th with that flip as he continued going, and he's passed at least 2 people back up to the 15th position. Meanwhile, the leaders do appear to be approaching lap traffic here in a minute. The 88 of Michael Deitch.
Nicholas Browski is on pit road right now. You mentioned, Brett, these guys probably would not make it on fuel for the end of the stage, and we're about 15 laps in from the stage now.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I don't know what the next gen is like. I remember in the truck series, 50 laps was always the fuel window, and this is 70% fuel. And if my quick math is correct, that would be about 35 laps on a tank. Sometimes the fuel mileage can be a little different between vehicles, so it might be a little bit better, might be a little worse than that.
But yeah, you were mentioning the 88 Michael Deitch. He was on pit road when the race started.
Yeah, I believe he started. Yeah, I believe he started from the pits.
Caution! Spin off backstretch.
We got a caution.
Austin Duran is in the middle of the back straightaway. I've noticed him. He has been one of the other drivers who's been very squirrely on corner exit and very close to the wall. Looking back at the replay real quick, it looks like he was racing Christopher Robinson, but there was contact with the 43.
I think he got loose off the corner and 43 was there. More so.
Yeah, and both of those.
He might have been able to see
that the
43 wasn't there, but I think he was already starting to go around, and then the 43 being there just kind of finished him off. It will be interesting to see if people come to pit road under this caution. We're going to be restarting probably with about 8 laps to go in the stage. Lap times have fallen off only about a half second so far. Not a huge amount of fall off in terms of lap times. Maybe closer to 7/10, but there is only 2 sets of tires in the pits. So I would not be surprised if we see a decent bit of people stay out here, because I think if you're pitting here, you're definitely going to have to stay out at the stage.
Split decision.
Split strategy.
Saw a lot of fakers there.
And Liranzo will keep the lead. So far, he has led every lap, making a strong bid to get the fastest lap. And it's going to be huge on this restart. I think we're going to want to keep our eye on Kody Riveras, because he is going to need to be aggressive trying to get back through these cars on older tires for stage points.
Oh! I don't know who that was in the back.
Austin Duran and Michael Deitch.
That was interesting.
I don't know why the 55. He must have missed his box. He's backing up, and the 88 just plowed right into him. Wow. That's big contact on pit lane.
I mean, not the first time we've seen trouble on pit road here here on JCTV. I happen to remember back in, I think it was season 2 of the Into Pits News Truck Series, we had a bunch of cars tangle on pit entry under caution here, so can't happen. This is one of the tighter pit roads you see, but yeah, you don't want to reverse on pit road. As a mistake there by Austin Duran.
Yeah, definitely not in one of the speed lanes. Probably go into pit boxes to do that here on iRacing. Well, Josh, those guys who pitted here, Kody Riveras, Ellis Wells, Drew Webb, Luke Mahone, Nicholas Browski, Anthony Calusio, I believe, and the 56 of Devin Frank. It's actually Wes Gallo in the 07. And Amir Bascom as well.
Yeah, as I was saying before, there was an incident on pit road. For the 77 on this restart, he's gonna have a big chance now. If Rivera struggles to get through lap traffic, he can make up to 10 points here, because stage pays 10. It's the same as NASCAR, where it's gonna pay 10 down to 1 for 10th. And you got to think the 36 is going to be aggressive on this restart, but a big chance for Liranzo to continue to make up points here. He's already led the first 35 laps of this race, so he could very well be looking at the bonus points for leading the most laps as well. So far, very strong run for Liranzo.
Yeah, this is an interesting strategy. I really, I don't know. I think you stay out there with the tire set limits that they have. I think the only reason I'm coming down pit road is to just get. Everybody did take tires there, so everybody that pit that is took tires. So interesting strategy call. But yeah, I mean, Liranzo is in the best position possible. Go ahead, Brett.
And to call it back to what I would say is the moment of the race so far, the 0-0 of Christopher Robinson has stayed out on that caution. So if we needed more proof that he probably did not have any damage from that single flip on the front stretch, stayed out. So, and is currently running in the 10th position.
Now, real quick, before we go green, I do want to point out that I actually did win a stage at Homestead by pitting rather than staying out. And I came from pretty deep in the field to do so. That was in Monday Night NASCAR League that used Xfinity cars. So a little bit different here, but we're going back green inside the Geico restart zone. Big flags in the air. We're going to keep our eye close attention to that 36, of course, but right now, Bryan Liranzo.
You mentioned the 36. He already made it 4 wide as soon as they took the green. He's 3 wide on the bottom now in turn 2, trying to make hay.
Oh,
no,
the
Jackson
walk
Brown
on
also
the
gets
outside
turned.
there. And the 36 made it through. Alonso Chicano is involved, as is... Oh, they're still
Michael
wrecking.
Deitch, Luke Mahone, Chucky Tarpley.
I can say for sure as Alonso has towed. I can say the 36 of Kody Riveras did make it through that accident, and that actually, it's going to hurt him in that he won't have as many laps to take advantage of those fresh tires, but he is back in the stage points of that, so it also will benefit as he's definitely going to have to stay out on this restart.
Drew Webb has taken responsibility for this incident on the driver radio. For one of the incidents, I think there were a couple of different chain reactions that happened there off turn 2, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it. It looks like, not sure which car that was. Whoever was beneath Alonso there, it looked like he drifted up into Alonso, and then another car outside of them. I don't know if he didn't realize he was Looks like he might have not realized he was 3 wide or something, because that looked like he kind of expected Alonso to be at the wall, but obviously nothing Alonso could have done because it was 3 wide.
Yeah, that is 21 of Jackson Glenn Austin there. And, yeah, 3 wide racing.
Yeah, and Drew Webb, the responsibility he took credit for was for body slamming the 5 of Luke Mahone when he shot across the track. Going into turn 3, body slammed the 5, and that's what led to another incident down the track into turn 3.
Oh, yeah, right there. But Luke Mahone, oh, did a great job.
Oh, and that's Jonathan Parker. Was that Parker got into him?
That was
That was
not
Deitch.
Jonathan Parker. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
that's-
both
sorry.
running
Yeah, it was
the same
Deitch.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
the Tony
both running
Stewart
the
throwback.
the Tony Stewart throwback.
Well, before we go back green, I guess let's hear from our in-race reporter. Unfortunately, on pit road right now. Alonso, you were involved in that incident, of course, we just saw in the back straightaway. What did you see there, and what happened from the seat of the 9 car?
Your mic's lighting up, but it's not picking up.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties getting a hold of Alonso Chicano.
You there, Alonso?
Yep.
Oh, what happened there?
Well, I looked at the replay once I got off the car, and I mean, last time I checked, my glasses are up to date. I got the prescriptions updated, so I'm pretty sure they're working just fine. And I was looking at the blimp cam, and then I looked at some different replay angles just to make sure that I was holding my line, and sure enough, I was. And Jackson looks like, I don't know if he just didn't know we were 3 wide, or didn't care, or just doesn't have good awareness, or what. But he just he kept moving up and up, and just wrecked the field, I guess. So I'm not sure what happened there. But as always, just people like to talk a lot before looking the replay, so I made sure to check the replay before saying anything.
And speaking of the racing so far in this race, what were you seeing out there the first laps before getting taken out there in that incident?
Yeah, it's really loose. These cars have very little grip out there, and on fresh tires, I mean, these drivers, they're a lot more used to these cars than I am, so they're just way more aggressive than I wanted to be. So I lost a few positions there at the very start, but as the field went on and I was getting more confident with the car, I was able to make up some positions, and I felt like maybe we could have contended for a top 5 there. Just on the restarts, they are just so much more confident than I am. So yeah, just put ourselves in a bad position, and unfortunately got taken out by Jackson. But hey, it was a one-off race. It was fun for a little bit, and I wish the best of luck to those championship contenders there.
So we've restarted, and we are back under caution, and that means that Bryan Liranzo will be the Stage 1 winner, as that will do it for Stage 1, I believe.
Yeah, that is going to be the stage. Michael Deitch and Jackson Glenn Austin involved in this one again, Josh.
I have it. Oh! Not sure who that was that got tagged by Deitch. And then they slid right up into Jackson Austin there.
So with this being the end of the stage, Liranzo, of course, is going to get 10 bonus points, but Kody Riveras up to P6 is going to get 5.
And as they come down pit road here, Riveras will inherit the race lead, and that could really play out well for Riveras, as the cars who pitted on that first caution don't even have a full green flag lap on the tires, as we had 2 quick cautions after they restarted. So,
And you brought this up earlier, Brett. 5 bonus points for leading laps. This is the first laps Riveras has led this race.
I don't know what's just happened to timing scoring, because then they were showing the 22 with a 20-second lead. So, did he tow? I just did something weird.
So while we're under caution, let's go ahead and bring in our stage winner, Adam. If you want to see if you can dial him up.
Hey, Brian, it's the guys in the JCTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, man, loud and clear.
Well, pretty strong first stage there. What do you think of that 77 car right now?
She's fast, especially on the long run. In clean air, we were able to hold on and lead a good amount of laps, and we're not too far back from that 36, and he's on older tires, so we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, not too far back, running right now P7 under this caution flag. So obviously on better tire, what do you think of this strategy call for yourself and the strategy he called on that caution flag we saw a couple laps ago?
It was definitely a risk for him. He's definitely going for the track position and for that lap lead. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, if I didn't get the 2 cautions right there, he definitely would have won the stage or finished really high in it. So I'm just thankful that those 2 cautions came out. It's going to be interesting here. I was better than him on the long run, especially towards the end of that run. I feel like he got lucky. I feel like I was about to clear out and pull away by a second. But if we could just do that here, catch him, pass him, make the right call, win the pit, it's a win and a championship.
All right, well, good luck on that, Brian. We'll be watching, of course. It's going to be fun to see. Best of luck. Hopefully we get to talk to you a little bit later.
All right, man. Thank you.
And that was the stage 1 winner, Bryan Liranzo. So, as it stands right now, I'm not going to include the points for finishing position at the moment, but just based on points scored so far in this race, Bryan Liranzo would be 1 point behind Kody Riveras, because he picks up 5 points on the stage finish, and he picks up 5 points for leading the most laps compared to Riveras, who would only have the 5 bonus points compared to the 10 for Liranzo. But he entered today's race, I believe, 11 points back. So as of now, it would be Riveras by 1 point, but obviously, so that basically means entering this final stage, obviously can vary if Riveras ends up leading more laps than Liranzo, but almost a straight up race. Who's going to finish better between the 36 and the 77 might be what determine this.
This pace car pulls in. We are getting ready to start stage 2. Green flag is waving. Kody Riveras already clear of the field.
Bryan Liranzo got a good restart there. It's already up to the 5th position.
Jonathan
They're
Poca just
3
ahead of
wide
him.
for 6th.
Yeah. That is Poca making it 3 wide. They're going to get wide there. Brandon Fielder's going to push up into the 56. Almost contact with Devin Frank in the wall. He keeps it going. Wes Gallows right behind him. They're still 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Yeah, as Parker will check out from that. That's the thing on these restarts. You want to get clear of where everybody is, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck in hornet's nest.
Yeah, I think Liranzo is happy he put all that behind him, and he's sitting where he's at. It is just, as you mentioned, a hornet's nest back there.
And I also want to go ahead and add, I'm pretty sure I did not catch where Ellis Wells finished in that stage, but I am pretty certain Ellis Wells has been eliminated from the championship contention based on the results of that first stage. He can no longer be the points he was required in the championship. But that said, he is currently pressuring Kody Riveras for the race lead.
Yeah, nothing says he can't still go for a race win.
And Bryan Liranzo, I wonder if he might be starting to get a little frustrated. He's almost stalled out behind Austin Duran and Luke Mahone, who both are 2 cars that really in that first stage did not show a lot of pace, especially on the long run. And I'm guessing he's probably just biding his time, but as you see, blink a little bit there. Once again, just a little temporary blink. Doesn't seem to be anything that's going to cause any major issues as this race moves forward.
I think Liranzo is just taking his time, not really wanting to pressure these guys too much. You know, save his tires.
Seems like that one spot on the track in the turn 1 is the only time he's having issues. That blinking at all is kind of the same spot as he did last lap there. As he is going to look to the inside of Duran here. Not quite.
Yeah, he had a really solid 1 and 2 there and came on the backstretch really good. You mentioned peaked to the inside of Austin Duran. Wasn't able to keep that momentum down the back straightaway. Here he is again diving into turn 4. Keeping the pressure right there on these guys. This batter inside the top 5. Going to fade just a little bit to the inside. Still not quite able to do anything.
As Luke Mahone's going to go up to the fence here. Austin Duran's going to get under him. And one thing you get really tempted to do when somebody rides the wall like that, when you're battling them, is to try to send it in deep in the corner and slide up in front of them. But at the same time, especially here at Homestead, it's really easy if you try to slide up in front of somebody just to keep going into the wall. So you're going to have to be cautious doing that, but we'll see if somebody maybe, especially later in the race, I'm sure that we see people start doing that. And if I'm Bryan Liranzo right now, I am nervous seeing how hard these 2 cars in front of him are racing each other.
Yeah, Liranzo is side by side with Mahone. Duran was able to get around Mahone. You see right there, Liranzo, he's getting off corner exit, I think a little bit too early. I think he's getting on the gas too soon, and that's actually going to hurt his tires. As I saw that he wasn't wrapping that white line. Guys, you can see that again right there. He has been able to clear Mahone now.
And that's big. One thing you really don't want to be here is you don't want to get stuck on the bottom under somebody. That's really when you start wearing those tires, because you got to give it a lot more wheel on exit to keep out of that guy usually, and keep your car from pushing up into that guy and into the wall. So that's, I know, like when I'm racing on a track, especially with higher tire wear, I really don't like to be going to the bottom unless I absolutely, making passes on the bottom unless I absolutely have to, especially early in the run.
just a little bit concerned with the line he is running. It does seem like he is getting on the gas a little bit sooner than the drivers that are around him. Looks like he's washing the track just a little bit sooner. And that's what wears the tires. It's going to affect the tire wear. So where he was looking really good early on, I'm curious to know where he's going to be sitting at here at the back end of this run. Liranzo has moved up into the third position, and see about catching Ellis Wells and Kody Riveras.
And I will say, somebody locked up the brakes. It looked like entering turn 1 there. Maybe it was just somebody blinked out or something, but I saw some smoke and smoke there. But yeah, I think Liranzo, the big challenge is not those guys he just passed. It's going to be those top two. Wells and Riveras, along with Liranzo, have really been the class of the field so far. And that first long stint appeared to be pretty far and away the 3 quickest cars on the track. So getting past Wells and Riveras might be a completely different beast than getting by Duran and Mahone.
Ellis Wells is running, really rolling up the track a lot sooner than Kody Riveras. Wells is getting a great launch off of corner exit. You can see Wells almost getting side by side with Kody Riveras there. But, you know, as this run continues, I personally would expect Wells to fall off. So I think Riveras might be taking note of this, all right? You know, Liranzo is in third place right now. Wells is really, you know, hurting his tires, but, well, now for Riveras, he's kind of forced to go to the high side as Wells. He got underneath Riveras.
If Riveras kind of got to be trapped between two minds here. If he keeps leading laps, he can maybe threaten Riveras for leading the most laps here today, which would really help his chances at winning the title. But as you say that, it looks like Wells might have a chance to get by him here. And if that's the case, I think we're going to see. Then it becomes basically at that point, it will be a straight race between Riveras and Liranzo for that championship, as Wells looks like he is clear up, and he clears him for the race lead. New leader, Ellis Wells.
Yeah, but Riveras going to do the crossover on the front straightaway.
Riveras not only trying the crossover, he got a whole lot of side draft as well. Was able to clear Wells while doing so.
Yeah, he did a really good job there of crossing him back over to get back by him for that lead. And as mentioned earlier, though, Riveras really, as meanwhile, it appears Austin Duran has gotten by Liranzo for that third position. And I'm wondering if what you were saying earlier, Josh, about the tires on that 77 might be true. If maybe he used a little too much of them at the start of this run.
It's very possible. It's also possible that he might have taken note of what he was doing, backed it down a little bit, and just kind of riding now. Hoping that, you know, he is saving enough tire now.
And I will say, it will be interesting to see. Everybody has only one set of tires remaining. When do you pit? There's kind of going to be probably, I would think, two thought processes here. You either pit, kind of split it in half and come around like the halfway point of this final stage and just take your last set and fill it full and then you're done pitting? Or do you run it long and hope for a caution, or do you run it long and pit late so if a caution comes out, you will be on these fresher tires on a late restart? So it'll be interesting to see what people decide to do as we progress, as right now it looks like the 55 is checking up that 77, and as they are both losing touch with Wells and Riveras up front.
And guys, as we see this battle for the third position continuing to heat up, we had an incident on track about 8-9 laps ago. Nicholas Borowski off of turn 2 got loose, went to correct it, and then got the outside safer barrier and just rode the wall all the way back pretty much to turn 3 and 4, then slowly went down the racetrack, tried to merge onto the pit lane, spun out I should say, and destroyed the front end of the 23. Clip entirely came off and slowly rode down pit road. So he's getting either damage repair or he's caught his season early. 23 car is going to finish probably 20th tonight.
Tough break there for Broski. Riveras still holding on.
And Liranzo might be coming under pressure here from Jonathan Parker for too long. Parker's just been kind of riding. And as I mentioned at the start, earlier on the long runs, you kind of got to always look out for Parker. And tonight that 83 car, usually he's in 48. That's what I'm at least used to seeing him.
Newest champion on JCTV, of course, not only in the Pits News Truck Series last season, but last Tuesday night, Slide Job Season 10.
Yeah, and Jonathan Parker also making a strong case to try to win the DI9 Designs NAR Series Season Championship. Won all but 2 races so far this season. Until they get.
Yeah, I gotta say Jonathan Parker on JCTV. He's pretty much the anti-Brett Bennett and the anti-Josh Coppernell. Pretty much anything he gets in JCTV, he's going fast and contending for wins. You know, I know for me, anything I get in, I think I can win, but I cannot get it all pulled together to do so. So
I think
any race he's.
And then he leaves a set of tires and pits.
Yeah, well, there's one of 4 things. Either I'm just not fast enough, or if I am fast enough, one of 2 things will happen. Either I will completely screw up the strategy, or I'll be on the right strategy, and then, or whatever strategy I choose will be the one that gets screwed by a caution. Every time. That's just how it goes. That's just how. But enough about that, as Liranzo is still fading. He's now 1.7 seconds back of Riveras and Wells. And maybe he's saving tire, but the alarm bell's got to be flashing in that 77 cockpit right now.
It's a little tough situation there for Liranzo in that 77 machine. I think right now, kind of what he's hoping for would be that Riveras has to pit and a caution would come out between Riveras having pit and Liranzo pitting. Because you think about it, those drivers that came early before the stage limit, they're going to have to pit before these drivers that pit during the stage break.
Yeah, and at the same time, I still do wonder if Liranzo is just saving a little bit of tire, but I gotta think he's not, because you see there the laps since I last pitted. I will say those 10 laps look like a big difference, but all of those 10 laps run under caution. Meanwhile, we have
Speaking
another
of
caution out on the track.
crash, it's Christopher Robinson and Wes Gallo in the turn 3 safer barrier. Wes Gallo's going to keep going. So is Christopher. He's going to roll down the track here. But heavy front end damage to both of those machines.
Christopher Robinson.
An aggressive block there by Wes Gallo.
Oh, man.
Oh!
I don't know about that one. I don't think there was intent there, because I don't think that's not how I think you would intentionally wreck somebody there. I think Gallo, it looks like Gallo expected Robinson to be a little lower and didn't want to be running that up top, and Robinson kind of just pinched him. That would be my guess there. I think, yeah, he gets a big run there, goes the inside, and then, yeah, you got to turn in more than that if you're on the bottom. While technically, yes, he left him a lane. If I've got somebody beneath me there, I'm assuming they're at least running the middle.
Meanwhile, everyone is going to head down pit lane, it looks like. So there goes that strategy of these guys going to come down on alternate laps for this last set of freshies here. They're going to get ready to bolt on.
Yeah, and we have 30 laps to go. Or no, sorry, my bad. I apparently can't do math. It's not like that's my job. In real life. But in 40, we have 40 laps to go here on this restart. I probably would start about 38 to go. Was wondering if somebody would take maybe fuel only here and save a set of tires. I know that's what I would do here, given I probably wouldn't be up front at the time, and that'd be the one way I could win. But then again, I did that at Auto Club in the Flat Job finale, and then immediately spun out when the strategy actually would have worked out.
Honestly, Brett, this is probably going to be the craziest thing I've ever said. I agree with you. With 40 laps to go here, and this being their last set of tires, I think I would have taken fuel only here. You know, I mean, we're not guaranteed another caution, but there are a lot of laps to go, and anything can happen. We've seen some craziness happen already. You know, these guys run 10, 15 laps, and then a caution comes out. You come down, put, those last set of tires on, you're already in an advantage. But that's not the case. It appears everybody did take tires, so...
And that means from here it will be a straight shootout. Liranzo got by Duran on pit road there and is back up to third. And I got to think he is going to be very aggressive on this restart, because I think he wants that clean air back. And really, right now, him and Riveras has almost caught him in terms of laps led today. And those extra 5 bonus points are going to go a long way to determining who is the champion in the Coast to Coast Cup Series.
So we've mentioned it quite a bit tonight. The fuel window, we think it is about 35 laps, of course, pitting here with roughly 40 to go. Is there any way under this caution these guys are going to be able to save those 5 laps to make it to the end?
I will say I'm going to guess my fuel window estimation was quite off, because and I was thinking it might be because usually, if I remember right, in this league, they usually try to make the first stage the length of the fuel window. So, because they don't want people pitting during the first stage. And I think we would have seen some people considering coming to pit road like halfway through the stage under green if you couldn't make it. So, I think that there's fuel is not going to be a concern here. But I, once again, cannot be certain on that without having tested the fuel window here.
So Rivera selects to take the outside line here for this restart. The Coast to Coast Cup Series does not have a choose rule, but leader can still choose inside or outside, just like the old rules. So I think
Sorry, Josh.
I think he wanted to have a better launch and not have Liranzo right behind him.
I don't think it's about a launch here. I think it's a really shrewd strategy move here. The leader has been getting a good launch on every restart here, and in general, I don't remember if they enabled a restart zone in this league, but in general in iRacing, as the leader, since you control the launch, it's really easy to get clear as the leader no matter what lane you're in. And usually the car behind you will get a better launch than the car second in line on the inside. So I think his thought is, don't let Liranzo be in the better lane on this restart and maybe put him behind Jonathan Parker, as that appears to be exactly what's happening as Riveras gets a great launch.
Yeah, Liranzo timed that out perfectly, but Ellis Wells did not. And that kept that bottom line going. Oh, and we've got trouble. Caution. Drew Webb and Brad Sawinski.
And that is big damage to 13, and he will tow immediately.
Yeah, I see the front bumper completely
I also
ripped
saw a
off
tire
of that.
coming off. So. It's going to be a suspension for the crew chief.
Does that count if they fall off in a crash?
I don't know. I don't know what the rule is. NASCAR seems to have time to make it up as they go along anyway.
Man, Webb smashed that inside wall at a very bad angle. He completely destroyed the front club of that car. No wonder it came shooting off.
Oh yeah, no, that car is killed. And really nothing Webb could have done there. It looks like Sawinski came down the track a little bit and did not expect Webb to be peeking to his inside, and heavy content for the 13, and I'm gonna guess that's gonna be the end of his day. Sawinski looked like he got away with pretty minimal damage, so he might be fine to continue.
Yeah, Josh, we've seen it all night. The driver's just sliding off turn 2, and there we see Sawinski sliding down quite a few lanes.
Yeah, and that's something you always got to look for, especially on iRacing, and especially at a track like Homestead, is the lap after a restart, especially after pitting, it's going to get so loose off the corners. Usually I find turns 3 and 4 at most places to be harder, but at Homestead, you're already carrying, because the straights are long enough, where you're already carrying a lot of speed in turn 1 and 2, and it is really easy to get loose, especially on the exit of the corner. And I think that's what we've seen a few times here today. I think the big question here is, what line is Riveras going to pick on this restart?
I don't think there is really a debate. Liranzo fell back to P4, and I think Riveras is going to take that inside line.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, because it really seems like Ellis Wells, the 2 restarts we've seen with Ellis Wells in the front row next to Riveras has gotten a huge launch on Ellis Wells and been able to clear him easily. And that one's been in the bottom, one's been in the top. So I got to think he's going to choose the lane opposite of Liranzo, because the further he can get Liranzo trapped back in the field, the better his championship possibilities to win a championship, as I believe we are 5 or 6 laps away from, I don't have an exact number because iRacing doesn't give it to me. I've been manually tabulating, but I might be off by a few laps. But I believe we are 6 laps away from Riveras passing Bryan Liranzo in terms of laps led here today, which would give him the advantage in those 5 bonus points for the most laps led. And I believe, if my math is correct, that if Riveras leads the most laps here instead of Liranzo, he would win the championship even if Liranzo wins, with him finishing second. Otherwise, Liranzo wins the championship. The winner of the race will win the championship no matter what, as here in a coast to coast, the winner of the race gets 10 more points than any other driver. It's 90 points for a win.
Yeah, it's going to be... the drivers was just talking about it themselves in the voice chat, and it's one crucial factor. that's going to make it complicated is going to be the thing you brought up, the most laps led bonus point, which is worth 5 more points than just leading a lap. So it's going to be pretty crucial in the grand scheme of the final standings, and I think it's close right now in this race because Liranzo led the first 35 laps uncontested, and since then it's pretty much been Kody Riveras, other than a lap that Ellis Wells led during the caution, and maybe one or two other during the first pit sequence. So it is going to be interesting to see the way this shakes up. I think Riveras has the advantage right now, but we still have over 30 laps to go, so it can still swing back into Liranzo's favor in terms of that category.
Yeah, and what I have is Liranzo led the first 44 laps of this race before pitting on lap 45 and handing the lead to Riveras. Riveras has led all but one lap since then. Ellis Wells got by him to take the lead for one lap in that long green flag run. So I think it's going to be Liranzo. Really, Liranzo, if Riveras gets up to him in laps led, which I believe if he gets to lap 90 still at the lead, he will have led more laps than Liranzo at that point, and then it would be to lap 99, I believe, to clinch the most laps led for Kody Riveras. And if that's the case, Liranzo would need to win and have Riveras finish third or worse in order to win the championship, rather than just needing to win the race and controlling his own destiny if he leads the most laps.
Oh, green flag is back out. Ellis Wells got a great jump. Liranzo did not.
Yeah, and Duran appears he's going to clear Liranzo for fourth, so...
We have a spin in the back. It's going to be the 56, I believe. We're going to stay green. Two of them are spun back there. Christopher Robinson also involved, still green though. Front of the field, Ellis Wells diving. Can't make it happen.
Liranzo just tried to pull down by Duran and was not able to get by him, and he is under heavy pressure from Jason Radchcock for the 5th position right now, as the championship hopes might be slipping through the fingers of Bryan Liranzo right now.
Oh,
Meanwhile, sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say the viewers at home just saw something really strange. And whatever that was is definitely not the case, but Austin Duran went
I saw it too.
Smoke, and some parts came off of that car, but that's all net code. He's fine.
I've seen a couple times like some smoke and weird stuff in turn one, and I think, iRacing just updated. For people who aren't aware, iRacing does a season update every quarter, and the season update was this week. And a lot of times, the week after the update, you'll get some weird stuff. As a lot of times, the updates will introduce some small bugs into the coding. As you see a battle here for third between Duran and Parker.
Yeah, right ahead of Liranzo, and now here comes Jason Radchcock, his teammate, right there to his rear bumper. Is Duran going to continue to race side by side with Parker in the corner? Going to slide up a little bit, give that position to the 83, and here comes Liranzo to the inside of now both of those positions.
Like Duran kind of missed the entry there and had to check up to stay out of Parker, and that really will help Liranzo here as he
slide and a spin. The 22 is drifting on the back straightaway. We're going to stay green though again.
And Liranzo needs to get by and clear Parker here, as just him being side by side has put him a second back of Wells and Riveras. And if he wants to get to him, he has got to go and go now. As meanwhile, Riveras has now led more laps than Bryan Liranzo, if my math is correct, giving him, for now, the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
Liranzo has gotten around Jonathan Parker and has his sights set on Ellis Wells, but we'll see. It's about 9/10 of the gap between Wells and Liranzo.
As it looked like Austin Duran may have been blinking a little bit there and in the corner, right behind him.
Now guys, a quick update on what happened there on that restart. It was Devin Frank in the 56 got loose off of turn 2. Same thing we've seen all night. Drifted down a couple lanes. Body slammed Christopher Robinson. They both kind of slid and spun halfway onto the apron. Kept it going, of course, and they were off the racing surface, so he stayed green, and almost the same thing happened to Emil Bascom a couple laps ago. He didn't hit anyone, so he just drifted on the bottom by his own, and they're all still going on the lead laps, still about 9, 10, 12 seconds off the pack, though.
I will say Christopher Robinson in the 00 has had quite the race here tonight.
I'd say.
I mean, he's been upside down, he's been backwards, he's been sideways, he's been about every way you could be in a race car on this track tonight, and somehow has came away with very little damage, but I think that car definitely has been hurt some, as the pace just doesn't seem to be that he had earlier in the race. It doesn't seem to be there anymore, but quite an adventurous night for the 00.
The moment I saw him upside down, I didn't think that car was going to continue.
Well, I've pretty much every time I've seen a car upside down on iRacing, it usually means they've hit a wall. Like, usually to flip a car on iRacing, especially like at Homestead, the only time I've seen cars flip are either, I think you might have went to outer space in a truck race. I've seen a couple people go to outer space with the walls, sending them to outer space here, but I've never seen anybody flip from hitting that bump on the front stretch before. That was a first.
You know, actually, so you mentioned that. I don't know any viewers right now watch the BSR and the Big City Truck Series race that we just had at Watkins. The qualifying, I was messing around after my qualifying laps, and I found earlier from practicing a spot just off the S's right before the straightaway that if you get into the grass and hit the wall, it'll actually flip your truck over. And so keeping that in mind, after qualifying, I was still, while others still had the opportunity to qualify, I was just turning some laps. And I was hoping that Dawson, who was producing, was going to have the camera on me. I hit the grass, hit the wall, and went upside down. For me, I did land on all fours, but my truck was blown up. There was no way I could continue rolling.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is I remember in the BSR and the Pit News Truck Series here, we had a wreck with, I want to say it was Michael Kruger and Nathan Fuller. And Michael Kruger hit the wall and got catapulted like 20 feet in the air. Because I remember I was behind that wreck and I just saw a car flying over me. Which, for those who don't sim race, whenever you have a truck or a car above you that you can see out the top of your windshield going over you, it's never a good thing. But yeah, that Robinson flip was still one of the weirder things I've seen. Meanwhile, Ellis Wells is starting to drop a little bit back of Riveras, so Liranzo may be gaining a little bit on Wells, but he's still a second back of Riveras and only 20 laps to go this time by.
Here's something interesting. Luke Nupp came down pit road just before that caution, so Nupp is on a little bit older tires. Looks like by about 6 laps than everybody else. And Nupp, he's worked his way up into the top 5. Right now, under pressure from Jason Rashcock. Rashcock has to get back in line, but incredible job from Luke Nupp to, under the circumstances, still pretty well right now.
And also developing Bryan Liranzo, checking his lap time right now, has been a tenth faster than Kody Riveras each of the last 2 laps and is now only 8/10 of a second back. Meanwhile, though, in the championship hunt, Kody Riveras is about to clinch leading the most laps here today, and doing so will make it so that I believe lap 104, I might have been a little off on the map earlier, I believe lap 104 is what he needs to lead to be to that point. And once he does that, that will give him a slight buffer, I believe, to Riveras for the championship. I mean, to Liranzo for the championship.
Yeah, that's going to be 10 bonus points for Riveras, and that's going to be a 5-point buffer. Additionally, he has over Liranzo, like you mentioned. It could be very, very important if Liranzo is going to be faster here in this long run. Catching these guys little by little right now is that 3rd place car.
Yeah, and it appears right now Kody Riveras is running mid 33 and at 33.156s, while Bryan Liranzo is running 33.1 flats to 31.308s. So he's gaining about maybe a half a tenth a lap at the moment. But then again, the other thing is when he gets the wells, just getting side by side with someone is going to kill your speed. So he's going to have to be very efficient getting by Ellis Wells if he gets to him, if he wants to have any chance at Riveras. And then again, you knock on wood, hopefully we'll stay green to the end, but as always, you always got to have the thought in the back of your head, what am I going to do if a caution were to come out?
Well, I think the strategy is pretty easy. And then I think, you know, if the caution were to come out right now, Riveras in first, Wells in second, Liranzo in third, you figure Riveras is going to retake the outside line to keep Liranzo kind of boxed in down there. Now, the one thing is, as
And
There's the
comes
caution.
out,
have
It
a
is going to
caution.
be the 05 of Luke Knupp spinning on the front straightaway, guys. I was watching this break out.
And one thing I was going to say right before the caution came out was Jonathan Parker was also looking like he was starting to reel in those top three. So I think we got 4 cars here up front, and it's going to be as you see, Luke Knupp just got up the track. Looked like he was chasing the car up the track. Probably, it looks like he was chasing the car up the track, was tight. Probably gave it a lot of wheel to try to keep it off the wall on the top side of the track. And as soon as it bit off the corner, it just, the rear end just whipped around and spun out. Doesn't really hit anything, but that will bring out a caution, and we're going to have a restart with about 10 laps to go here in the season finale.
incredible job, though, by everybody to keep it off of Luke Knupp as he was going around. And there was about 5 cars there that all of them easily could have gotten into Luke Knupp.
And one
Yeah,
thing
when
I'm
I
looking-
sorry, but when I saw that happen, I was super shocked that no one hit him. I really wasn't quite sure. I had to go back and look in the replay before I spoke on if anyone did get around the 05, because he was right in the middle of the track, like you mentioned, Josh, and a lot of evasive driving. As the field hits pit road, Rivera's is going to stay out.
And maybe I was wrong about how many tires people have left. I'm wondering if there's a chance Liranzo, I will go back and look here in a second, but I'm wondering if Liranzo has another set of tires.
It says tire set limit in the race is 4.
Okay, so they must have had that off on their race info, because the race info listed as 2. So that means that, yeah, Liranzo will put on another set of tires, and it's going to be very interesting here, as
Ollie Reeves.
I believe he took 2 tires, I would guess. And
Indeed, he did.
and we have 5 cars staying out. Among those is Amir Bask, and those are Amir Bascom, who has damage and had a couple moments this race. Christopher Robinson, who has damage. Devin Franco, I believe, has damage. Brad Sawinski, who might have damage. And then Ellis Wells and Kody Riveras. So, I mean, I think if we have only 1 restart, they might be fine, because they're going to have to work through those cars that are been a little bit slower. But if we have more than 1 restart, I would be very concerned right now if I were Kody Riveras, because he has clinched now leading the most laps. But, and I'm double checking my points system here to make sure I am right on my math. So I believe, and I will do the math real quick just to confirm that for you. Yes. So actually, if my spreadsheet is correct, which it might not be, I'm actually showing where it might need to be, where Liranzo, if he wins the race, he is the champion. I was thinking it. So I believe it might just be a straight up race here between Kody Riveras and Bryan Liranzo to the finish. But we will see if that is the case. I am for sure certain that if Bryan Liranzo wins and Kody Riveras finishes 3rd or worse, that Bryan Liranzo will be the champion.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brett. Sorry, Josh. I think Brett's right because the drivers on the last caution were trying to talk about the point scenario as well, and they came to the same conclusion as you, but it might just be a straight-up finish here on the racetrack between the two of them.
So, I'm an engineer, so theoretically I should know what I'm doing with math. And what I am calculating right now, Kody Riveras entered today's race with an 11 points lead. He has led the most lap and picked up 10 bonus points. He also finished 6th in stage 1 for 5 points. Meanwhile, Bryan Liranzo has led laps for 5 bonus points and won stage 1 for 10 points. So both of them have scored 15 points so far in this race.
Well, you're not counting the lap led that Riveras is also led. That's also 5.
Well, I said that's what I'm sorry. He got 10 bonus points for leading the most laps total. So 5 bonus points for leading laps, 5 for most laps led, 5 for the stage for 15. And then Liranzo has picked up 5 for leading a lap and 10 for the stage. So they both picked up 15 points, which means outside of finishing position, Riveras has an 11 points lead. So that said, he will clinch the championship finishing 2nd or better. Liranzo will win if he wins and Riveras finishes 3rd or worse, and there's all kinds of permutations if they both finish if neither of them wins. But we'll have to see how it plays out as they are about to go green.
And we're going to go green.
Liranzo is restarting P8.
10 laps to go. This is going to be interesting. Green flag is waving. We are underway.
A good jump for Liranzo there. It's already... I'm sorry for Riveras. As Liranzo is taking it 3 wide to the outside here in 1 and 2.
Right now, Liranzo kind of...
He's going to get bottled up there behind Amir Bascom entering the corner. And that's going to allow Ollie Reeves to get to his quarter as they are
all stacked up right there behind the 56 and the 00, those 2 damaged cars, and then the 22 mixed in as well. It's a mess.
Yeah, and they have got to get clear of these guys if they want to have any chance.
Oh, they're wrecking in the back.
Rajcock is involved. Austin Duran is in the wall for turn 2 still.
Yeah, it looks like Rajcock and Luke Nupp were the 2 main ones involved there.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time, frankly, guys. They were just clumped on top of each other. They were on different strategies.
It looks like Rajcock got loose. Ollie Reeves also involved in that accident. Rajcock got loose, came down the track into a gaggle of cars.
Austin Duran was in the wall as that happened as well, and then as Rajcock overcorrected right up the track and just pounded the 55 into the wall even more.
I will be completely honest here. I think that might have really actually been a saving grace for Liranzo. Where he was at, he was just getting stacked up in traffic.
I agree, but that was a mess.
He will restart, assuming that none of the cars in front of him who have not pitted, if everybody stays out here, he will restart 7th, but he will have Jonathan Parker, who is on fresh tires and is a quick car, starting right in front of him, and Brad Sawinski is the other car on that inside line, who actually seemed like he was pretty quick on that restart. And I gotta think if you're Liranzo, you're wanting to take it 3 wide to the bottom in 1 and 2, because on fresh tires it seems like that inside line, especially on the restart, is really where you want to be, because that top line was just getting all kinds of bottled up there.
Yeah, expect nothing less than Liranzo trying to make it 3 wide here on this restart, because that's what he did last time on the outside lane, and it still worked for him. Despite being in the middle of the Hornets nest, he still gained a bunch. That benefited him probably from getting out of the lane, but he really had nowhere to go off of turn 2 and still made up position.
Where Rajcock spun out was very close to him. He could have very easily been caught up in that accident. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, they were. I don't know if you want to go back and take a look at it, but it looks like they were 4 wide with a car with Amir Bascom blinking out in the middle of 1 and 2. It looks like it was Jackson Glenn Austin, Bryan Liranzo, and Amir Bascom and the 56 of Devin Frank were 4 wide there in 1 and 2 as Rajcock wrecked behind them.
Yeah, and we could tell they were just getting stacked up terribly with those 3 damaged cars right in front of them all.
And I will say, it didn't look like that the cars with damage were really the cause of that stack up, though. It just looked like it was more just a lack of space rather than anything, because those damaged cars weren't really losing time, and that is something we've kind of seen today, is there's not been a huge amount of tire fall off, and I got to think that was some of the thinking for Kody Riveras not pitting under that caution. So I'm wondering if that, I've got to think that was his thought process, is in reality the drop off was only been about a half second on like a 20-30 lap run. So you're definitely going to be a little slower, but it's not that insane pace differential that you have no defense. You might, and with that clean air, I'm wondering if Kody Riveras thinks he can just hold on and block and do whatever he needs to do here to win this race.
Now, the other thing to watch out for is there's 6 laps to go right now. Lights on the pace car are still on. I assume that at the line they're going to get the 1 to green signal, which will be 5 to go. So when we go back green, it's going to go be 4 laps to go. And so there's not a lot of time for a guy like Liranzo to get up here to the race lead. Now, Jonathan Parker, he is the first one that did come down pit road. Parker is going to be restarting in P5 here, and it is indeed 1 to green. It looks like Riveras is taking the inside line, so I don't know.
I'm Liranzo. I am following Jonathan Parker here. Because I will say, having Parker's strength in this race has been more on the long run. He does not seem to have the best short run pace in this race, but he is decent on the short run. I think he's better for sure than Sawinski and Robinson in front of him. So if I'm Liranzo, I'm following Parker by them and maybe up to the leaders, and then I'm going to use him to help get by the leaders before trying to make a move on him, because I think Liranzo might be able to get by Parker if it's just one-on-one against him. So 4 laps to go. It's going to be quite the dash here to the finish.
Riveras, Wells, look at Sawinski, P3. Robinson and Parker are the top 5. Sawinski and Robinson had interesting crashes, but pace car's in, and green flag back in the air. Riveras with a great launch. They're past the start-finish line. Jonathan Parker looks underneath. Brad Sawinski, they're going to be 3 wide entering turn 152.
Liranzo got a great start, and he used that start right into the back of the 83 and kind of checked him up a little, because he was not at the start-finish line yet. He is just behind that 3-wide move, but they are wrecking in the back. We're going to stay green. I think it was the 05 Luke up again, but he towed back. Actually, I'll forward.
He alt forward. Honestly, we're
going to keep racing.
Very good move. Ellis Wells going to slide up in front of Liranzo. He's going to cross him over 3 wide through the middle. Sawinski up to P2. And Sawinski's going to block.
Oh, he got pushed. He got pushed in the corner. Way up the track goes the 28 from a nudge from the 77.
And Liranzo.
Oh, Parker and Wells make contact.
Got another car spinning.
That's
Once again, we're going to stay green. Sawinski back by Liranzo. And if you're Liranzo, you have got to clear the 28. He's up track. Liranzo's loose.
Slideways.
He's
almost got taken out by Fielder.
Check up and lose multiple spots. And if we stay green, that might be it for Liranzo's chances in this race. Jonathan Parker now to the high side looking to get by Sawinski.
Not going to be enough.
Oh, he's in the Hornets' nest. Again, Rose got the wall. They're wrecking. Sawinski and Robinson collide. We're on the apron. We're going to stay green, coming to the white flag, I think.
Oh, maybe not.
Robinson still wrecking, still green, though. Oh, Ollie Reeves slammed the wall.
Caution. Caution is out right before Kody Riveras took the white flag.
Oh, my goodness. How heartbreaking for Kody Riveras, but there was chaos all over on the last lap.
I'll be honest, that probably should have been thrown a lot sooner by iRacing.
Oh, absolutely. Ollie Reeves slammed the wall head-on in turn 3. They were wrecking down the back all over.
I think we had about 5 accidents in those 3 laps before the caution came out.
Jackson
And
Glenn
a-
Austin and Christopher Robinson with a 2 on the back straightaway, and then Reeves in 3. There was another one in turn 2 who wrecked. That was Austin Doran.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm checking something real quick here.
This race is one of the most interesting races I think I have ever called in my broadcasting career.
I just looked at the replay and Riveras took the white.
No, on my screen, the caution was out before he got to the white flag. Because I had my screen on Riveras, and at least on mine, it looked like the caution was out. Although I will go back and look real quick to make sure, but I believe
I'm looking. The green light is illuminated still, and he is well past the line.
Interesting. I'm going back and checking right now. Although I will say, iRacing does operate on a little bit of a delay for when the caution lights come on, compared to when the actual throwing the caution is usually 2 or 3 seconds before the caution lights illuminate and the caution flag displays on driver screens. There is a delay there, so I'm betting that was the case. Because you're definitely right. I'm looking at the replay right now, and the white flag was shown to Kody Riveras before the caution flag was displayed. But that's iRacing. Now, I think the question is, if you're Kody Riveras, do you choose the bottom or the top? If you choose the top, I think you got to choose the top here, because then that will put Sawinski, who definitely you are faster than, on the bottom, checking up Parker, who I think is probably the fastest car, is first of those guys on the fresh tires, and then Liranzo behind him. And that hope you stack them up. I think if you restart on the inside, you're giving Parker a free run at you, and you're letting Liranzo possibly follow through.
And that's exactly what I was going to say there, Brett. I 100% agree with you. I think if you're Riveras, you got to take the top here. And, it's a good chance that Sawinski gets a good restart, but at the same time, if Sawinski doesn't, bottom lane will stack up or could potentially stack up. If the outside gets going, well, the good news for Riveras is Liranzo won't be in that outside line.
Yeah, and then, it does put Ellis Wells behind you, but Ellis Wells, he's been behind Riveras almost this entire race and has not shown much of getting around him. And indeed, Riveras will choose the top lane on this restart.
I wonder if Riveras is listening to us for some advice here. But I'll be honest. I'm really surprised to see that this call to stay out has worked so far for Riveras, and he's gonna need it to work for another 3 miles.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine right now that the nerves for the driver of 36 have got to be high, because those cars on fresh tires are definitely restarting in the most advantageous position they have yet, with Jonathan Parker on the second row and Bryan Liranzo on row 3, along with a quick shout out to Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who has worked his way up to the 6th position.
So the pace car is going to come into the safety of pit road. These guys going to be turned loose for at least one more time. 2 laps to go. Green flag is in the air. That bottom's stacked.
Yeah, so Liranzo stacked at the bottom.
Yeah, and Liranzo once again in the back of Parker.
And that might be all that Kody Riveras needs if he can get back to the white flag.
Ellis got sideways off turn 2. He saved it side by side with Sawinski now, though.
And here comes Ethan Fonseca Moreno in the top. He's going to go back to the top, maybe try to get some more.
Where?
Liranzo's going to spin. He's going to get tuned by Mahone. We took the white this time.
And that will be it. And that will pretty much clip change for Kody Riveras. But who will win the race? Sawinski is not far back of him. And Ethan Fonseca Moreno is coming like a bullet in the top lane.
More trouble.
And we got another spin in the back.
Oh,
Devin Frank
Frank
was spinning it hard into the inside wall on the backstretch. Meanwhile,
Ellis Wells up the track. In the wall, barely.
Sawinski's going to have a run here at Moreno, but it's not Riveras. It's not going to matter. Kody Riveras will win the race and the championship.
Yeah, congratulations to Kody on incredible season, incredible drive, great win there, and adding a championship to his resume. And, you know, another driver I want to point out, Adam, of course, for the viewers, if you tune in to Fastlane, which is a JCTV podcast, we did a little bit of recording with Brad Sawinski earlier today. Of course, that won't be out for a couple days, at least, you know, to get everything else recorded. But Brad was talking a little bit about the race in his season so far, and one of the things he said was he's not really had a good season. He needs a good run. I think he had a great run tonight.
Honestly, that was super impressive by him to come home second. That car, I don't know how many times he was involved in at least a couple incidents. Yeah, looking at the incident count for that race, he had 18X in that race, and I don't think really a lot of them were him doing anything wrong. It was just a lot of him being back in the pack when things would get scattered on those restarts, but he was definitely involved in a few incidents. For right, pretty much none of them were of his own doing, but great job fighting on. Great decision to stay out on that last pit stop and took advantage of the track position to get the second place finish. So that was impressive.
And we see a bunch of drivers doing donuts on the front straightaway with their teammate Kody Riveras as Zenith Motorsports clinched up the team championship here tonight as well.
Kody Riveras doing the Polish victory lap.
Yeah, and once again, congratulations to Kody Riveras on the championship. That was a heck of a race between him and Bryan Liranzo tonight. And in the end, that decision to stay out on that caution with 15 to go is the winning move and wins him both the race and the championship.
Well, guys, I know we usually only interview the top three, but I want to talk to someone who had a very eventful night real quick and get a couple thoughts from them. Well, never mind, they left. Dang.
That's what you get with live broadcasting sometimes.
I had like 3 seconds to pull them in, and I missed it.
I was wondering if maybe we wanted to get Bryan Liranzo in here in a minute, considering how close he was to the championship there.
While we are waiting for our drivers to interview, we're going to start off.
Oh, we got Bryan Liranzo in the waiting room. If you want, I'll go ahead and pull him in.
Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and pull in Liranzo. And Brett, I'll let you take this one.
Sounds good.
In the corners. Oh.
Hey, Hello, Bryan Liranzo here up in the JCTV booth. Looked like you had a great shot at the title. What more do you need there at the end of that race to possibly
Just
get
track.
to Kody?
Oh, sorry. Just track position. We gave it all we had. We went for the tires, tried something different. I think that if I stayed out and stayed in third, he would have just put his teammate second place and would have slowed me down on the restart. So I had no choice but to try to do something different. Thought it'd be a better advantage. It wasn't that big of an advantage at first, but as the restarts kept coming, we kept climbing our way through the field, and I kept being more and more aggressive. And just small mistakes, like I was going to get up to second, and I made a slide that cost me. I think if I hadn't made that mistake and I got the same caution, I think I would have had a really good shot to take it. But it's all right. We had a great season. Congrats to Kody.
Yeah, and speaking on that, it did seem like tonight tires ended up not being as big a factor as you see sometimes in the other cars here at Homestead. Was it really that much just clean air out front being the biggest factor, or was it tire management? What do you kind of feel out there here tonight?
It was kind of both, and just the circumstance. Like when we had that long run, Ellis and Kody were in the same chat, so it's like Ellis, like I followed I was in third place the whole run, and he never made a move. So on the straight, even though I was gaining in the corners, it didn't even matter because Kody would gain it down on the straightaways and just save his tires, going for the run out of the corner. So that's pretty much what it was. It was that, and just having good teammates. Like all those guys that stayed out are all in the same chat, so it felt like a 1v7 at the end there. But yeah, it was just where you were on track. Kody got the lead. He did a bold strategy to pit at the stage, sacrifice some points, and get the lead, and that's the reason why he won the championship.
Well, congrats to you on a great season and a second place finish in the points here. Anybody you want to shout out, thank, or anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Kody first for giving me that run for my money right there. I don't think I've ever been, usually in all my championships I've won, I've never been in this situation where I had to win, that I had to go all out, and I think that's the most funnest iRacing I've had in a very long time because of that. So again, congratulations to him, and thank you to him for racing me clean all season. I think that we have a great rivalry. I don't think we've ever wrecked each other, but we race each other really hard every week. I'd like to thank Velocity Designs for the design, of course, my own design brand. Only charge $4 a scheme, so if you need a scheme, hit me up. I'd like to thank Four Cloak Media, Pierce Graphics, and EG for giving me the opportunity to come out here, compete for a championship, put on a show all season long. And I'd like to thank you guys for coming out and watching an epic championship battle come down to the wire.
And thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you out there next season here in the Coast to Coast Cup Series. Congrats again on the second place finish in the points, and best of luck in all your races moving forward.
Thanks, man. I'll see you guys.
Thank you. And that was Bryan Liranzo, driver of the number 77. Adam, I don't know who you're going to want to get next, but I'll let you handle that.
We'll skip over to the second place driver. I want to talk to our man who somehow held most of those guys off there at the end. Brad, it's the guys in the JCTV booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, Josh mentioned this a few minutes ago. We talked pre-race for interview on Fastlane that's going to come out next week. You said you were looking for something to end the season good. You did. Somehow you were involved in a few incidents. How did you get back up there and manage to finish a second place in that green-white checker there at the end?
Man, I have no idea. I mean, early in practice, I was like, I thought it was okay, but during the race, I was just kind of back there, just kind of riding around, figuring out the track, and I think after I had that one spin, I had that one spin that you saw, guys, and it must have it turned on something because on those tires, those spun tires, I got the fastest lap. I was feeling it, and we were talking about strategy there at the end, and they were telling us to stay out. A couple stayed out there at the end, and it clicked. The car was really good for those last couple laps, and those final restarts, man, I was very nervous because I felt like I didn't want to completely impede on the championship, but I wanted to also go for the win. I was just so happy. I'm just so happy to get a second. After all this season's been, how horrible it's been, to get a second, man. And if I got a better turn one there, I think I could have had a chance at 3 and 4 for the win. But I'm so happy, man. The Freddy Fazbear's pizza delivery team, they worked hard, man. They were Freddy fast.
Well, what was going through your mind when you were involved in a couple of those incidents early on? Did you think your race was over, or was it pretty much just the story of your season so far in your head?
I didn't really get into the only incident I was really in was that one spin I had on the restart, and that was just I'm not very good on restarts, and it just spun. There were some incidents ahead of me that I avoided. I was near some incidents, but I always avoid them. I did hit the wall pretty early, like on lap 15, and I kind of broke my toe link, whatever, for a little bit. And that hurt me a lot for a while, but even I didn't get it completely fixed, but I was able to just get used to it, and it just worked, man. I cannot believe that.
I was glad to hear the car wasn't too damaged then there at the end. That was fun to watch. You up there, of course. Who do you have to shout and thank outs to get you here to a second place finish tonight to end the season strong?
Well, I mean, in our team chat, Kody told us to stay out. So I mean, if honestly, I was probably going to pit there, truthfully. So honestly, without him telling us about what their practice runs doing, I probably would have pit and probably just would have finished like 10th or something. So honestly, I mean, shout out to Kody for that strategy call for us. And man, I don't know, something turned today. I don't know. Hopefully next season maybe we get a win. That's, man, so happy.
Well, I hope so. There'll be a lot of enthusiasm from you for sure. Be fun to see if you're able to do so. But we're going to be looking forward to seeing you again next season, of course. And hopefully the 28th is going to be up front with a lot more good luck next season.
I hope so too. Thank you very much, man.
Yep, thanks, Brad. That was our second place finisher, Brad Sawinski. Very ecstatic, of course, with a second place run tonight. But Josh, I believe you are caught up with our third place finisher tonight, who came out of nowhere really at the end.
Yeah, I've got, okay, there we go. And I've got 3 words. Eat that bear. First of all, Ethan, where'd you come from? You're just rolling that high side really, really well there. It was just a little too late there, but what a drive to get you up to third there late in the race.
Yeah, first off, what's up, guys? Second, yeah, I was surprised myself as well, because I was like running outside the top 10 for most of this race, and I mean, I pretty much kind of was losing hope a little bit, thinking, I was trash this race, but no, I saw a few guys running the top there like during the race, and I was seeing it was working really well for them, so I figured try to top on this last restart and give it a shot, and I mean, it worked really well. I'm surprised myself that I even got the run off the corner that well. I had like no practice up there, not a single lap up there before then. Well, maybe on the restart before then, because I was trying it out, and it worked pretty well. I got up to 6th, but yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I didn't think I would get up to P3, especially getting past guys like JP there. I thought they'd probably fly right past me, but no, I'm just as surprised, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, incredible drive there at the end. But overall, this race, it was a very racy track tonight. Drivers going all over the place. What was it like out there mostly for that 43?
Yeah, the car was very. I had like no grip, literally. I was driving the whole race with no rear grip, so I was just sliding all over the place. Really just trying to control the car. I couldn't really like get the tires cooled down to try to make a charge for the front. I was just racing guys around me and just holding on for the entire run. So that's why I was never able to get back up to the front once I had lost the position. Yeah, that's pretty much how it all went until the end there.
well, who do you have to thank? Who gets it done behind that number 43 machine?
I know Dylan Parker's not here in this league, but he helped big time during the practice. I had no practice laps before this race at all. I just kind of went in the middle of the session. I think about a little before halfway into the session. And he was kind of helping me a bit. Helping me a bit with getting to get the handle on the car right, and try to run the right line, if anything, to save tires and also for qualifying. I think the most part I was doing qualifying trim because I just could not get the handle of the car for some reason. So I was trying different things with the brake bias and the master cylinder and all that. And we finally got something going for qualifying trim, but for the race it was completely different. Just fell all the way back and could never get back up there. But those cautions came at the right time for sure, though. Also, JP for helping with the adjustments as well. Luke, he was in the call as well, so he was. It's good to have somebody else in the Discord call to just to learn off of a little bit, because he was definitely better than me during that race. So I was definitely I was looking at him through most of that race to see what he was doing, so I can adjust how I'm racing the track, so I can maybe try to improve to get back up there. But that's all I got.
All right. Congrats on a third place finish and great run tonight.
Yep. Thank you.
And that was driver of the number 43, Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And, of course, usually the way we like to do things is the lead commentator interviews the winner, champion, a lot of times. But, Adam, you've been here since the beginning of when JCTV started broadcasting, Coast to Coast, that is. And the very first race that JCTV did, you and Jonathan Canfield called. Kody Riveras won that race. You know what? Go ahead, go on down victory lane. Speak with our race winner and champion, Kody Riveras.
Yeah, Kody Riveras won that race at Daytona at the road course, and winning again tonight to take the championship. Kody, pretty strong second stage there for you. Very strong there on that green-white checker. First of all, I want to get your opinion. I heard you on the driver radio. What was going through your mind when that caution came out? The last second, pretty much, when you took the white the first time.
Yeah, man. My thoughts were correct. I was way past that line. I took the white flag. I don't know if iRacing just showed it late because the wreck was happening a little earlier or whatnot. But I was feeling like that might be the end of me. I was, Bryan was going to be a couple spots closer on fresh tires. Brad wanted to win that race pretty bad after the season he's had, so I was feeling like something's going to go wrong here. But I knew if I could nail the restart and get to the bottom and just run a really good 1 and 2, that I had a good shot. You guys, I know, had told me before the race that you guys were going to math it out on the broadcast as you were going. In my mental math, I knew that if Bryan won and I finished second, I think I still would have won the championship by a point. So it was a little less pressure than I initially thought. But honestly, congratulations to Bryan and Ellis. It was a fantastic season, fantastic championship. I enjoyed racing those guys all year, and I'm extremely proud to not only win at this track, which is not one of my stronger tracks, but to also get to win the championship this season.
So what was your strategy in mind there early in the race with Bryan dominating that first stage pretty much in conclusion? Then you pitted early with that caution coming out about 10 laps before it, got off sequence, of course, drove through the field with the cycle, and then being off strategy again late when everyone else came down pit road for those last couple cautions.
Yeah, well, the strategy was definitely not to be one of 5 cars down pit road. That was not a great strategy call. I know it was, it's relatively early in the race. There's a lot of things to happen, but I was thinking with laps led and whatnot that I might have just cost myself the season pitting right there. And I got lucky with that first caution coming out. I avoided the wreck and I gained enough spots and got the caution laps to where I didn't have to really push my tires too hard. And then, of course, we got that other caution. I wasn't too happy with that other caution because I felt like I could have got a couple more stage points out of that. But yeah, staying out, getting that clean air in the first part of that second stage was pretty nice, and I was comfortable with the fuel number. We were going to make it past the point that we wanted to pit, so we were safe. We were just hoping for no cautions, and I was actually planning on coming down pit road within a lap or two of when that caution came out, about 76, 77 there. I was trying to go on like lap 79, lap 80, play the undercut, take it to the end. So yeah, basically the strategy was I felt like I was on the wrong side of it all day. Had a little bit of luck with caution timing, and then I just truthfully had one of my better drives today, and was able to get it done.
Yeah, able to get it done. Take me through those restarts. Pretty chaotic there. We saw three of us noticed a lot of guys sliding off the corners and spinning down, getting collected with other people, and just happening to be in the way. What did you feel with that 36? Was it way too free on fresh tires or on cold tires? I mean, were you able to keep it pretty good for yourself there?
Yeah, well, I think you guys probably saw right at the drop of the green flag there that I was going to be pretty aggressive on restarts today when I made it 3 wide. I think Bryan might have missed a shift or shifted early or something, but diving it down to the bottom, going 3 wide early, Tony Stewart style, 2011. I felt like that move needed to be made, and I needed to kind of send a message on how I was going to race today. And then as far as the other restarts, whether I was in the lead or not, it was basically just keep Bryan out of my lane to make sure that I could get a better jump, and not necessarily sabotage him, but put him in the non-preferred lane, being away from the leader, just to kind of give myself more of a gap, especially when he had fresher tires on me essentially the entire race. And yeah, at the end there with 10 laps to go or whatnot, it was a pretty easy decision for me not to pit because of how free the car gets on those cold tires, especially on the corner exit, and particularly out of 4 there. The track kind of tightens up, and you can get real loose off 4s. I'm sure everyone that's raced on iRacing knows. So yeah, it was a pretty easy decision to keep the heat in my tires, and my lap times were still pretty solid, and I was gonna just hope to get it done at that point. And like I've been saying, we got it done.
Like Josh mentioned, when we started talking to you here, you won our first race we broadcasted for the Coast to Coast Cup Series of the Daytona Road Course, and you're going to end the season right back here in Victory Lane. So after a very successful season, championship, of course, who do you have to shout out, thank, congratulate as well for a great season here in the Coast to Coast Cup Series?
I want to give a shout out to every single person that lined it up and took a green flag for the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series this year. We had an average of 27 drivers per race, which across any game that SAAC has had any racing league on, it is far and away the highest participation over the course of a whole season. And the racing was fantastic. The battles were fantastic. The drivers were fantastic. The personalities were fantastic. It really couldn't have asked for a better speculatory season. And we're excited to get going after the SAAC IndyCar Summer Series coming up in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. We can't wait for next season to begin, Kody. Good luck in that. Congratulations again on the championship tonight and the race win.
Thank you again, man. And shout out to you guys for fantastic broadcasts all year. You guys have a hell of a booth, and the streams have been better and better each and every week. And I'm looking forward to watching this one back and reliving this race.
All right. Thank you, Kody.
Thank you, Adam.
Well, that is our Season 0 SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series champion, Kody Riveras. Josh?
Yeah, what an incredible season that he has had to get him to this point, this championship win. What an incredible race this was. This had it all. I mean, we saw, lots of great racing, lots of crazy restarts, drivers fanning out 4 wide. Very close finish, a car flip upside down and still continue rolling. I mean, this race, even some crazy pit strategy. I'll tell you, I was not anticipating any of that happening, and I think it just adds to the drama and unpredictability of racing, and it still blows my mind that there are people who just don't like racing because it is more than just left turns and going fast. This is This was a really exciting race.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, that championship battle coming down the end of the race, a little bit of, if you want to call it controversy, although it's just iRacing being iRacing, with Kody Riveras really taking the white flag before that last caution. But that race did have a little bit of everything. Been a fun season. I was a little late to the party, starting broadcasting at Iowa, and then either raced in or broadcast last four this season. But every race I've seen from this league has been just incredible racing. Put on, I think last week, one of the best road course races I've seen on JCTV. And then Iowa was another really exciting, good race, and Talladega, at least from the driver's seat, was great fun. And then tonight, Kody Riveras just drove a great race, pick up the championship, but Bryan Liranzo never let him rest and really fought with him to the end of that race until he kind of lost on that last restart. And I'm looking forward to maybe competing with these guys in their off-season series in a car that we are not allowed to mention because iRacing, well, it's not iRacing's fault, because of the team because of the owners of the series in real life. But looking forward to maybe competing with them in that, and looking forward to hopefully be back here next season as they go at it for the next, once again here in the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series.
Well, that is going to wrap it up from us here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And you can catch more action the next two nights. Tomorrow night, the DI9 Designs NAR Series, they head to the Nashville Fairgrounds. And then the BSR In the Pits News Truck Series heads to a track that, well, a few years ago, I mentioned I would never, ever race that ever again. And I'll unfortunately be forced to get my truck out and race that track. But no, I am looking forward to it regardless. So you can catch both those races on the next couple days. So looking forward to that. Big shout out to Adam and Brett for calling this race, helping me out tonight, and I think we all had some fun. Jonathan Canfield not here tonight, but big shout out to him as well for all that he has done with JCTV and doing production for the first few races of the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series. So on behalf of everybody, entire outstanding crew at JCTV, I'm Josh Coppernoll signing off, saying so long. We'll see you next time.